So what is Photoshop, and why should I use Photoshop? Well, Photoshop is mainly a pixel-based program. Now, what can you do with pixels? Well, you can take photography and edit photography from a digital camera or from a scanned document. You can create web and print designs within Photoshop. You can also create things for app design. So it's all pixel-based. Now, there are some vector tools within Photoshop, but it actually creates raster or pixel-based objects. So when you're editing, you're painting, you're creating graphics, you're editing graphics, those are all the types of things that you can do in Photoshop. So let's take a quick tour of Photoshop and kind of what it looks like. Let me jump over to Photoshop. So once I have Photoshop open, okay, I can take a look, and when I first open it up, you're going to see this sort of welcome screen. And this welcome screen is a great way for you to get to your recent objects or your recent files that you've had open. You can see on this particular computer we've had a few files open recently and a couple weeks ago. We can create new things, we can open things, so you can see there's a lot you can do within this interface. You can also get to your libraries. We'll talk about libraries in another video. We can also take a look at any presets that we might have to begin a new document. Up at the top, we have our panel up here for our control panel. This is all based on what tool that you have selected. This is going to change throughout your time using Photoshop, and it's going to give you the right options for the tool that you currently have. We have our traditional menus up at the top, and over on the right-hand side, we have some things. And right now, we only see libraries. So let me just open up a document so you can see a little bit more of what shows up on the right-hand side. So let me just go to Open, and I'm just going to open up any file I want. Doesn't matter which one. Okay, so we'll get that open, and over here on the right, now you can see a bunch of panels. And I want to show you how those panels work. Now, the panels, you may hear a lot of people use a lot of different names for those panels. The official Adobe name is Panel. Its previous name was Palette. And you might find that I might slip throughout this course and call panels palettes, but it's basically because Adobe changed it. And I've been using Photoshop for over 16 years. So I'm kind of used to the old name, but I'm trying to get used to the new name. You may also hear them called panes. That's more of another manufacturer's name for those objects that open up on the right-hand side. Now, there's a couple of things you should be aware of, and that's some of the preferences. Now, if you're on a PC, you're going to go to Preferences, exactly where I'm going to go. But if you're on a Mac, you want to go to the Photoshop menu. And if you're a Mac user, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's take a look at some of the preferences. And again, there's a ton of them. What I recommend is if you've been using Photoshop for a while, go in and take a look at some of those preferences. So let's take a quick look. If I go to the Edit menu, go all the way down to the bottom, and based on your screen resolution, you may have to use this down arrow right here. But in our preferences, you can see there's preferences for all kinds of things. So I'm just going to go to General real quick and just give you a brief tour. One of the things that some people like and some people don't is that start screen. If you're not happy with that start screen, right here, it says Show Start Workspace when no documents are open. If you don't like that look, you can turn it off. Also, over on the right-hand side or on left-hand side, if you click on Interface, if you're not crazy about this dark interface that Adobe switched to a few versions ago, you can change it to a lighter interface. I don't think that looks good in these videos, so I'm going to stay on that sort of medium dark interface. So you can see I'm not going to go through a ton of options right now, but those are just some of them, and you'll see more as we go throughout this course. Okay, so I'm just going to click OK, and that's just a really super brief introduction to Photoshop. This is a photograph that I took just of a piece of wood. It's pixel-based, and we'll take a look at those pixels in other videos.